like to call the meeting to order. If you would stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome everyone who's watching from home. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Present.
Trustee Gatt. Trustee Kazam.
Present.
Trustee Reichert. Present. Trustee Wigginton. Trustee Weisenberg.
Present. All right, 2 absent, but we do have a quorum, so we would be at the approval of the Board of Trustees minutes from October 17th, 2023. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Are there any questions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying, do you have a question, Trustee? Okay, I know. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we would be at comments from the audience. If anyone is here tonight to address the board, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and try and keep your remarks under 5 minutes. Hi, Mary.
I hope this is the last time I have to do this for a while. Mary Bear, 5016 North Clarendon, Peoria Heights. A couple of weeks ago, we had a structure fire on Manita. They had to pull a Mavis box for extra help, and it worked just like it was designed to do. Peoria responded along with several other volunteer fire departments without any problems whatsoever. I'm not going to point fingers, and I'm not going to say we told you so, but personally, I feel like the village dodged a big bullet by not entering into an agreement with the Peoria Fire Department. In the past month, if you've been listening to the news, Peoria, at every council meeting, Peoria's fire department is understaffed and underfunded, which I truly believe they are. They wanted our money. So I'm pleased that we have chosen a full-time chief that will hopefully take us in the right direction for the foreseeable future. Secondly, and just my opinion, I don't believe Illinois American Water was able to come up with anything significant and was not able to answer hardly any of the questions that needed to be answered. The only thing we know for sure is our bills would go up significantly. This is Peoria Heights. We need our fire department, our police department, our street department, and our water department. Sometimes what seems to be the easiest answer is not always the right answer.
Thanks, Mary. Jerry, you coming up? Welcome.
Hello. I'm Jay Gruber, 3814 North Monroe, Peoria Heights, Illinois. It's lovely to be here. Good to see you all around, and the parking lot is full again. Hooray. I would just support that 727 West Division. Doesn't look any different to me. It's got a bunch of junk in the driveway and stuff, and I'd really like to have somebody deal with that problem that the neighbors have been complaining about for a long time. So that's one thing.
Has that been called in, that address?
What's that?
Has that been reported to code enforcement?
Many times before, not by me.
Okay, we'll look at that tomorrow.
Thank you so much. That would be lovely. And then the second thing is I want to support the possibility that we take the work seriously to keep the water publicly owned, meaning ours, instead of giving the contract to Illinois American Water, putting profitability between the citizens of our town and the water is a big concern. I don't mind that they do a proposal, but I would share with you that water's the next oil, and we need to keep it public and ours, and, do the right thing for our families. So those are my 2 thoughts. I'm also glad we didn't shift our fire department, and I'm grateful that the board has taken the steps to move forward, and we're going to beef up our volunteer department, and I think it makes me proud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment going once, twice. Public comments closed. We'd be at old business. Any old business come before the board?
Ready, Mayor?
Yes, trustee DeVore.
So we did hear our statements from Illinois American Water and from Woodard and Curran. I know several of us did take the time to tour Illinois American Water's facility and have done a lot of things to further educate ourselves on the contaminants in the water. I am hearing what everybody is saying, and this is a very hard decision, but the things that are coming down the pipeline with the PFAS make me very concerned. Illinois American has already put over $250 million into figuring out how to remove those contaminants from the water. No matter what, if we keep the water company ourselves, or we go with an Illinois American Water or another company, our water rates are going to increase significantly. I feel like on a public safety standpoint, they are going to be able to provide us with safer, cleaner water in the long haul. So I would like to know where this board stands on at least putting out an RFP so that we can dig in to some of the more details of what it would look like. We as a board have to collectively decide like what we want to do, but I would like to see how the finances would come down. What happens if we were to sell, like how do we pay for some of the things that we use the water fund for, or how do we actually, what it would actually look like monetarily if we kept it ourselves. Woodard and Curran is telling us that it's going to be over $7.5 million, and that only treats the manganese. That doesn't treat the other issues that we're having, and I think this needs to be something we seriously consider from a public safety standpoint. Also, the advantages that Illinois American Water has is because they are a large corporation, they can offer discounts to residents who are lower income more than what we can, and I just would like us to consider that. So I guess my question is, does everybody want to collectively put out for an RFP for it, or how does this board move forward as far as we talk about the water? I don't want it to be a situation where we talked about it with the fire department, where we discuss it and then it goes off the wayside and we don't make a decision. I think we need to move forward so that we can work on getting clean water, not brown water for everyone.
Anyone want to comment?
I'm happy to comment. I also think obviously this is an incredibly important issue, fire, water, safety for everyone. I am in favor of exploring further with American Water, but also I would like to say that in the previous meeting where we had both Woodard and Curran here and then American Water at the podium, I was hoping that Woodard and Curran would give more of a presentation to the audience because we had a large audience at that time. They have presented to us in the past, so as a board we understand some of what needs to be undertaken, both including rate increases, but also just infrastructure changes and that type of thing. But I don't think that our community at large has enough information to really weigh in heavily on that. And I also recommend a series of town hall meetings where we can educate ourselves further from both entities, both American Water and Woodard and Curran.
And Mayor, I would echo what Trustee DeVore and Trustee Kazam said. I would too like to see town halls where we are able to collect that information that we've heard from Woodard and Curran about the upcoming regulations from the IEPA and those challenges. The PFAS filtering alone is, if you do some research on that and look at towns out east, it's a huge thing that's going to be coming down from the federal government on those regulations, and American Water has already started planning for it, and we haven't even discussed it. One of the other things I'm concerned about is, we passed the Woodard and Curran resolution, almost a year ago?
I think so,
And we
yeah.
had a 5- and 10-year plan. Well, now that's a 6-year plan and a 21-year plan. So I worry that we do a lot of phase ones around here, not at the fault of anyone, but I'm concerned that there's a lot of infrastructure that we need to get done, and if we're not going to go with American Water, then we need a timeline on ours to when we start, because we're a year out now and we haven't done anything. I continue to get brown water complaints. I continue to get chlorine smell complaints. And I'm asked what we're doing, and we haven't done anything yet, except for go out for the Woodard and Curran. I know a lot of the stuff that we had identified in that proposal we can't do without the rate increases, because it has to get funded somehow. So if we're going to do something, we either need to go with the American Water option or set a timeline on when we implement our filtering so that we're not, 5 years from now, we're not talking about our 10 to 30-year plan or whatever.
I also like to point out, so Woodard and Curran gave their presentation to us on March 3rd, or March 23rd, which is on it's on the YouTube channel for the village. But at that time, just to treat the manganese was $5.5 million. And then when they were here in our last meeting, that has already jumped to $7.5 million. So I agree with you, Trustee Weisenberg, like we have to start moving on things because they just keep getting more and more expensive. But we can't do those projects without a rate increase. So we would have water currently as it stands, you would have the quality of water you have right now with a rate increase if we keep it ourselves. So anybody that wants to hear what Woodard and Curran said originally, it is March 23rd on YouTube that you can watch their original presentation they gave to us.
And one other thing that I thought was interesting is, when you hear the term government regulation, a lot of that sounds really bad, but what I found out was that American Water is regulated by the ICC. So like there's certain investments they are mandated to do. And they have a lot more regulations than surprisingly we do, it seems. In terms of rates, increases, like there's nothing preventing us from raising the rates 100%. But every time American Water raises the rates, they have to go in front of the ICC and get approval for those rate increases, and they have to explain to the ICC what investments they're doing to justify those increases. So they're kind of forced, for lack of a better term, to do those infrastructure increases, infrastructure upkeeps. Whereas I've seen, not necessarily at the fault of this administration or this board, but a lot of our infrastructure decisions fall down to politics. Administrations that in the past, the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, didn't want to raise the increase, didn't want to raise the rates. So we're dealing with the fallout from those decisions today. So I definitely see the pros and cons of going with American Water. I do like keeping it in public hands, but not if we're going to let the infrastructure crumble.
Well, if I may respond to you, you bring up some good points. I too prefer to keep it local control, but I think it makes sense to go through the due diligence of getting the information. And you pointed out that we haven't done a lot yet, but we've done a lot of studying, and we had, experts in the field, Woodard and Curran, nationwide experts in water and the delivery of water. We're getting ready. My concern, and one of the things I want to do tonight is remind you all that we are getting ready to spend a significant amount of money. This ice pigging experiment of putting a slurry through the water mains to scour them out and clean out the mains has been proven to work in other communities. So whether it will work here or not, we don't know. But my main point I want to make is that we are getting ready over the next several years to spend a lot of money in water infrastructure, and we need to. That's something that just has to be done, whether it's filtration. We've asked Congressman Sorensen for funds for water main replacement on Route 29. Wayne, I'm assuming that the Monroe project, if approved, would include replacement of water mains?
Yes. Yeah.
So, again, those are all investments either by the state or by the village or by the feds, and I don't think that you recoup those investments in a sale, maybe a small amount, but I don't know how to hurry this up. But I caution you that we are getting ready to spend I think, it's 6 figures on the ice pigging, isn't it?
Correct.
Is the date still in November?
Yes.
That's going to happen? So, it's a couple weeks away?
Yeah, letters will be going out to the community, to the people in the community that it's going to affect.
Okay, so.
And it's just literally a few hours.
Yeah.
They're going to explain, try not to use the water while it's going past, and it will all be explained. Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're on the floor.
Do my chime in here. So some of the things that I've been sitting back and trying to listen because I am new and I don't necessarily always know everything or anything about any of this. But one of the things that I have figured out over the course of the last few months of our community and things like that is that they're not opposed necessarily to raising rates if it affects us directly for our community. And I feel like if they end up with a rate increase because we're making the water better and they see that happen, whether it be with the ice stuff or infrastructure changes or grants or things like that, or little things even that they're seeing happen, that things are moving forward, I don't think that that's going to be as rough as signing with Peoria or Illinois with the other water company and moving forward with that and still waiting a couple of years before we see some big changes in that either. But I almost want to hear public opinion on this as well, of kind of what everybody thinks about that, rather than, yes, it's ultimately up to us, but it's their funds too, so I'd like to hear some of, like at the next meeting or something, invite people to come and share their opinions on what they think as well.
Yeah,
And by the
that's a
next
great
meeting-
idea.
And by the next meeting, we'll have had, I know it's a lot of money, and I know we've talked about it, it's a lot of money to drop, but I almost feel like it's worth the risk to try, because it is only a small section of the village that is having it done. And if it doesn't work for the small section, then we don't, necessarily have to continue that route, but we can also let everybody know, hey, this didn't work, so now we really have to. But moving forward and getting the answers from American Water and having those and saying, hey, this didn't work, and American Water is offering this and stuff, at least then we've got both sides of the coin to talk about too. So, but I would love to hear what the voters say. Do you want to wait and use your money, or would you rather us make your rates go up, but it doesn't get reinvested into us, it goes to them? So I'd be curious to see what everybody wants done.
Good point, yes.
And Mayor, I know we're heading into the holiday season, but do you think it would be worthwhile to have a few town halls, like on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Maybe one during the week, during the day, just to catch those first shifters, those second shifters, people that work Monday through Friday, maybe get some Trust Chris cookies,
Yeah.
Desserts bring people.
That can all be done, but I think we need Woodard and Curran here to walk us through everything. And there are other things out there like, what do we do with the tower?
Right.
And how do we maintain the tower? And if by chance there would be a sale, what do you do with the money? How is it spent? And so both the administrator and Stephanie could go on about how it changes the budget. So water revenue helps pay for lots of salaries around here. It goes for other maintenance. And even council, even a quick sale would maybe take a couple of years. Is that?
It's a long process.
Yeah. And once the money's gone,
I
it's
think
gone.
at least a year, probably 18 months, and it could very well be longer, before Illinois American Water is in and running the system, from the day we decide we want to explore it till the day we close.
Yeah, and I think Woodard and Curran can be independent now. So if the majority of the board switches gears and says, all right, now you're a consultant on how to sell it. But I think we have to, the pros and the cons, and they can spread their cost over a wider audience. They can probably maybe fix things quicker. As you said, maybe they're more regulated, but then we have to figure out, you're losing control over streets. We've already had some issues with Illinois American over having streets torn up for long periods of time. In the village, we're used to things being repaired pretty quickly. So I think those are the things we need to present to the public, all of those sorts of issues. So
Clearly, I think that there's more work to be done and more education. We've all been through some education, but our community needs to be educated, and the town halls are critical. And it needs, I believe, in a less formal setting where people can ask direct questions to both Woodard and Curran, American Water as well, so they can understand exactly what's, going to happen.
It was under I brought this up tonight because I felt like I was under the impression that in order for us to get some of the answers to the questions that we have, like how is the budget going to change? How is this going to happen? That was the next step, was that we had to do an RFP. So I still feel like I have a lot of questions too, but I guess my recommendation is, how do we move forward to start answering these questions and make determinations on what's right for us?
well, I think your administrator and I will get a hold of Woodard and Curran and tell them what direction the board wants to go in and start advising us on the pros and cons of a sale, what that looks like. Council would probably have to be involved. Mr. Alder's got a full plate, but you'd probably have to help.
I think that's what I was thinking too, Mayor. I actually contacted Woodard and Curran today anticipating this, so They can be like our third-party, consultant, and I think they can be unbiased in this. They have the contacts in the industry. If we issue an RFP, who's out there that can possibly do this, things like that. And I agree, there's things for staff to do, including a very deep dive on the operations and uncovering facts there and how that affects our budget. The other thing is, as far as rates, we need some direction. If you decide to proceed with the rate increase, we can do that. So I think probably at the same time as we may be considering a sale transaction, just to get things going. So something to consider in, as far as the rate increase as well. Pursuing the plan that we laid out, in the Woodard and Kern report.
Would you say that a rate increase is necessary now in order to support some of the things that we're already embarking on, like ice picking?
I think that was our plan. I mean, it makes things a little bit muddy when you make the transaction because there's some things already in place, but there's always going to be that type of thing happen. So, I'd like to get Woodard and Kern's, kind of input on that as well. But I think that rate increase was pretty important to getting funding for some of the first projects that we anticipated.
When was that set, like in the initial proposal, like when was that set to happen?
It was
January?
I think there's a certain time period of the year that's better for us, and looking at Dustin.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. The presentation was quite a while ago, but we can go back and look. But I know what's coming up.
Yep.
I mean, I think we should still kind of move forward in that direction, because if we do keep it, then we need to pay for more ice pigging and, working on filtration and things like that. So I would be in favor of keeping the planned rate increase.
So, go
I
ahead.
agree with Trustee DeVore that I think we should probably reach out for the RFP to
Yeah.
get that information. Do we know, Stephanie, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but do we know how much of a surplus each year that I don't want to say profit, but the revenue that the water company makes a year? Or is it a wash? Do we budget a surplus for future projects, or are the rate increases just to maintain operations and break fixes?
It varies from year to year. This current year budget cycle had a surplus that we were building towards future projects. It does also include the first year of the capital improvement plan. So the plans that were in that first year are in this cycle. I believe that, I know that ice picking was part of that process. There were some other projects that were discussed, but with things kind of being up in the air, it's been difficult to figure out whether to get started on those or not. Based on the conversation that I'm hearing from the board at this point, I would assume administration and the mayor would instruct staff to move forward on some of those things that were put on hold.
So the surplus is from rates exclusively, or do we put money into the water account to help support that?
Specifically, what we're seeing is the current surplus is the result of starting to build up to go to specific infrastructure projects that we had in mind. That was prior to Woodard and Kern coming out with their capital improvement plan. So now the current reserves are being applied towards the capital improvement plan as opposed to the initial projects we had, staff had considered important. So at this point in time, the rate increase that was put into the capital improvement plan is to fund the future projects of the capital improvement plan because they quickly step up in terms of cost. So while it's able to support itself with the current projects and the current maintenance and just general costs, very quickly we're going to get to a point with the capital improvement plan where the rates were not going to be able to. They needed that rate increase in the past, which is now the present, if that makes sense, in order to be able to support the future projects.
So all of the money that is in the water accounts right now only comes from water bills?
Yes.
We don't put anything from the general fund in there? It's
No.
just strictly from the water?
Well, okay, so the water bills have the waste disposal charges on them, which
Okay.
are general fund. multiple times over the course of the month, Emily and I are reconciling those and transferring those out. So when you look at the treasurer's report, depending on where the cash flow, it may be plus or minus some general fund money. But generally speaking, all the reports that I present to the board that have the actual budget and everything like that, anything to do with the general fund and the waste disposal fees are taken out.
Okay.
So those reports are the ones that are true to the water company and everything that the water company brings in.
Okay. And just, I mean, I know we're putting you on the spot tonight. This is information that we just recently asked for, so we could all study this information, and you haven't had enough time to actually get that together
No,
to present
yes.
to us. So, I
Yeah.
mean, thank you for answering these questions.
So I think your administrator and I hear you, Mr. Walton, Mr. Aldridge, and Dustin, you and I think need to get together in the next few days, and we'll lay out a plan of what the steps should look like. Okay? All right, any other?
Just a moment on old
Yep.
business. I just want the board to understand that the KDB group filed with the Attorney General, Public Access Counselor, a complaint against the village relating to the FOIA requests that you'll all remember from August. Notwithstanding, we spent a lot of time and effort gathering documents to respond to that FOIA request. They're accusing us of violating the FOIA Act. I completely disagree with the allegations, but I will be responding appropriately. We're analyzing it at this point. I'll get in touch with the trustees and, be back in touch about that, so you will be hearing from me again, but I just wanted everybody to know that's out there, and we're going to respond appropriately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes,
I have one question. It doesn't really fall under old business, but I have a question for you.
sure.
At the conclusion of our meetings, could we also add a comment from the audience? I've gotten some feedback from constituents that when we have meetings, they don't really have any questions in the beginning or comments for the board, but by the time the meeting concludes, they have questions or comments, and they aren't able to ask them of the board. So I wasn't sure if we could have a comments from the audience in the beginning of the meeting and at the end.
Yeah, I don't have any trouble with that, and honestly, even if comments from the audience are not on the agenda at the end, I think normally I'm going to let people ask questions, so.
Just real quick, the communities that I've seen do that both at the beginning and at the end confine the comments at the beginning to agenda items, and then at the end, it's anything.
Gotcha, okay.
So that helps restrict it a little bit. Confine your comments at the beginning to the agenda items, and that makes sense. If it's on the agenda, you get to give the board and the mayor your input on agenda items. At the end, it's, your street needs to be, potholes.
Okay, that's a good idea. Madam Clerk, we make a note of that, and
I will.
we check with council before we set the next agenda.
I will do.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Yep, anyone else? Old business? Okay, let's get right,
Someone in the audience, Mrs. Gruber.
yes.
I was just going to say, I'd like to be able to hear a little bit more about this FOIA problem with the KDB group. Can we be acquainted with that? Is that public? I mean,
Yeah.
I know you just said some, but I didn't understand the context.
They're requesting public documents. Council, have you?
The KDB group made a very extensive, detailed request for documents. We spent a lot of time and effort gathering those documents and producing them, and then they filed a complaint saying that we're trying to hide stuff, in effect, in simple terms.
And what was it about? Like, what is the?
It's all about KDB group. They asked for documents relating to communications and things that relate to KDB group and their projects.
Okay, because they have a lot of projects that have been in the area.
Correct.
So it's about those projects.
Yeah, they're seeking documents and communications and things relating to their projects.
Thank you very much. I
You bet.
appreciate the disclosure.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay. We're going to move on to new business. The first is an appointment. I am very pleased to place the name of Dan Decker for your consideration as the next fire chief. So I'd ask for a motion to approve, Dan.
Make a motion to approve?
Second?
All right. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, I have one question, Mayor. Will we have an opportunity during this meeting to ask Chief Decker some questions?
Yeah. Dan, would you mind just telling everybody a little bit about yourself and your career?
First of all, thank you. This is so exciting. My wife Christy is in the audience as well. This is, I've been in the fire service since 1991. Actually, I guess before then, my father was on East Peoria for 23 years, so my entire life I've been part of the fire service. Graduated from high school, was paid on call for years, and then I went to Pekin Fire Department, was there for a year and a half, then went to East Peoria Fire Department. I've worked part-time or full-time for the different ambulances around the area as well. AMT, Fulton County, Morton, Washington. So I have a diverse knowledge of the area and how different places, I guess, run their departments and the different EMS agencies. So for me, this is a perfect opportunity. I love this community. I've joked with a few people. My wife and I spend a lot of money eating here. We enjoy it. I love the idea of having Treskers in the meetings. I think this is great. Just really excited about getting going, being a part of the community, and for me, for us, it's just perfect opportunity. But I'll answer any question you have.
I have about 15 questions. Should I wait for the?
Go ahead.
Can I ask them now? Thanks, Mayor. Chief Decker, why did you choose to pursue the position of fire chief?
Perfect opportunity. I left East Peoria and became the fire marshal at Clinton Nuclear Power Plant. The reason I did is leaving East Peoria at that time for that opportunity is a good opportunity. It's a great company, great people to work for, great people to work with, extremely intelligent, but there was less fire interaction than I thought there was going to be. I thought there was going to be more training opportunity. There just wasn't. And I understand that. It's a very safe place, really. But besides being in the fire service, I've also been an educator at ICC in EMS and different fire classes. I really enjoy that. So I was hoping to have more of an opportunity to do that. So even though I enjoyed it and I could have spent 10 years there, I realized that leaving actual emergency work was a mistake so quickly. So when the thought of Peoria Heights came, it was just perfect. I always feel like things happen the way they're supposed to for a reason, and this way I felt like it did in this case. It gave me a little bit of time away from East Peoria to realize how much I wasn't ready to leave emergency work. So as far as the chief, I've been an assistant chief at East Peoria for years and had, I don't know, many fires that I've been in command of, and just looking forward to this opportunity.
You said that was the Clinton nuclear plant?
Yes.
Follow-up question to that. Did you do some fishing when you were down there? No. That was a pretty nice lake.
Yeah,
I wish I lived closer.
A lot of people do. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
My first question is, do they eat them? Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. I do. I have. Thank you, Chief. Do you intend to be a working chief?
Yes.
Go on calls?
Yes.
Et cetera? Thank you. Have you been staying informed about the recent developments in local news regarding the potential outsourcing of our fire department? Have you kept up on all the news?
Yes.
Last couple months?
I have not. I've watched what was on TV, on the news reports, read a little bit online, and I can't say that I was like intimately involved. I didn't call anybody on the department or anything. First time I spoke with the mayor was a couple weeks ago in regards to the position. So I wouldn't say intimately involved, but yes, I was aware of what was going on.
Do you think it's essential for a community to have its own fire department?
I think it's essential for the community to have a good fire department. To answer that, I guess it would be unfair for me to try to answer exactly what I think needs to be done, if you're asking about here, until I've had a little bit to look at it.
That's fair. Are the firefighters in East Peoria part of a union?
They are.
Okay. Does that union prevent members from volunteering on volunteer fire departments?
No.
As fire chief, will you autonomously manage internal departmental structures and operations?
I believe so.
And I assume you're going to attend all of our village meetings as fire chief?
I am on the East Peoria City Council as well.
Okay.
I will attend when needed, when necessary. And I was speaking with the mayor about that. If there is something that I can be here for the beginning, then it's a half hour later, no, without speeding. It only takes about 10 minutes to get there.
So let me help out with that, if I may, Trustee Weisberg. What I envision, if there are fire issues on the agenda, we'll put those up at the front of the agenda, so be respectful of Dan's time.
Certainly.
I actually had a conversation with the mayor today of East Peoria, and he understands that as well.
Are the meetings on the same day?
They are.
Yeah.
So is Peoria's, that's weird.
If that's the case, then can we make it so that after you've done your evaluation, we get things set up, whoever, the assistant chief could sit in your place? So even if Chief Decker is here in the beginning, we have the assistant chief here to represent the fire department at that time?
If you're talking about like a specific time to let the council know, he understands, the other council members in East Peoria understand that everybody has a job, and there might be times where it's necessary to miss a council meeting for your employment. So if there's a night that I need to be here, I will.
Absolutely, I get that. I'm just saying we used to have a representative from the fire department up here every meeting, and even if you're unable to fulfill that because of your obligations, I think the assistant fire chief should be sitting in your spot instead. I would just make that request to this board.
And I think that's a good suggestion. I would leave that up to the new chief, though, to decide.
Yeah.
But yeah, good idea.
Thanks. A few more questions, Chief. Would you be open to scheduling monthly meetings with any trustee interested in meeting for the purposes of staying informed about the fire department's needs and current status?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the best way. Communication is everything.
One more. In a hypothetical scenario where there was an unmet need for the fire department, how would you address this situation?
I think it would depend on what type of unmet need it is. That's difficult to answer, I'll be honest. If you could give me something you're thinking about. But
Let's say you had a funding need, say you wanted to hire a couple more associates, and you needed funds that weren't being provided to the fire department. How would you advocate for the department?
it's important for any chief to figure out what needs to be done for a department. Now, it's also important for a city council to recognize what the community can afford. We were talking about Dennis Triggs a few minutes ago from Miller Holland Triggs, and years ago he said, you know, it would be great if we could afford to put a fire station on every street, but we just can't. So you have to figure out somewhere in the middle what a community can afford. So I think that's important to figure out what we can afford, and it's my job as chief to lay that out to you, give options of where we can go. I work at the council's discretion, so if whatever you say is the budget we have, we'll work within those budgets. But I have thick skin, and I will be honest with you. If I'm not someone who's going to do something in public, nothing like that, but I will tell you the truth. If I think that more is needed, I'll be honest with you.
Okay. And East Peoria has a full career department.
Yes.
So Peoria has a career department. I think Morton's moving towards a career department.
They have full-time paramedics they're working toward right now, hiring, not sure if they're going to be full-time or part-time, but through the day, through the week.
And then all the remaining departments around this area, maybe in Central Illinois alone, are pretty much volunteer or combination departments, is that correct?
Canton is full-time, Bloomington Normal are both full-time.
Okay.
Germantown Hills, I believe, has a part-time crew. I'm not sure what their hours are, but I mean, Dunlap might, but I just heard that as a rumor, so I don't know if that's true.
That's it. Thank you, Chief.
No problem.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Brandon really covered it, so I didn't leave me much to ask.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I've been thinking about this all day.
So you said you worked for several EMS services. So were you a paramedic?
I am.
Are you still licensed as a paramedic?
I am.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
Passes. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Chief.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Okay, next we're at Administration and Finance. Trustee DeVore has two items. The first is approval of Village of Peoria Heights Fire Chief Employment Agreement. Trustee DeVore, I'd ask for motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the fire chief employment agreement.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee DeVore.
Nothing is really different in this than what we have been reviewing in the past couple of meetings. So I don't know that there needs to be much discussion on it unless anyone has any questions.
Any questions? All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Record. Aye. Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is approval of ordinance 2023-1713, an ordinance approving an agreement with G&O Disposal Limited for waste hauling services. Trustee DeVore, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-1713.
And a second?
Second.
All right, go ahead, Trustee DeVore.
So part of this is just our standard renewal, so we renew every 5 years with them. So this, our contract with them is up for renewal. It will see a little bit of an increase due to lots of other expenses increasing. So that's the only difference in our agreement with them, which you should have it's attached in front of you, what our new agreement is. The increase, though, has come due to like landfill cost increasing, fuel cost increasing, wage increases, and things like that. I do feel like G&O gives us a wonderful service, so I'm in favor of everything in the contract they have asked for us. Trustee Weisenberg, I knew you were going to ask, so I did find out that toters are 7 to 10 days out if you call and request a toter. So they'll continue to provide those as they have been now.
Discussion? Well put, so thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Record. Aye. Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
That passes. Trustee DeVore, anything else?
No, Mayor, not tonight.
Okay, we would be at Economic and Community Development. 4 items here for Trustee Kazam. The first is approval of the use of Tower Park on May 11th and 12th, 2024 for the Peoria Heights Fine Arts Fair. I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
So we all have in front of us a budget put together by the women from the Peoria Arts Collaborative and a map. A couple things in here. They are not requesting any funds from us at this time, but I did notice, or rather Trustee DeVore noticed, that there is a fee that has been line itemed here for the use of Tower Park that I would move to omit. It's $150. I don't think that we charge any other philanthropic organizations or nonprofits a fee for the use of Tower Park. So if everyone's in agreement with that, then.
Well, you'll have to put that in the form of an amendment, please.
Okay. I'd like to amend the approval for the use of Tower Park on May 11th to omit the line item of $150 for use of Tower Park.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the amendment? Madam Clerk, call the roll on the amendment.
All right, this is for an amendment to the approval of the use of Tower Park to omit the line item, budget line item of $150 for use of Tower Park. Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Record. Aye. Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes back to the main motion as amended.
So the only other thing I would say for the people at home who don't have the map, luxury of having a map, is that this year that they are suggesting blocking off the prospect from Kingman to Glen, which I think, and utilizing actually Tower Park and our parking lot, which I think will be really attractive for walkability and less disturbance of our community.
Jane and Julie, welcome. Anything you'd like to add?
It's a 2-day.
Jane, would you please come so everybody at home can
Sure.
hear what you're saying? Thank you.
Jane Johnson with the Peoria Heights Arts Collaborative and Julie Biefeld. It's a 2-day event this year, which we had wanted to do last year, and we took everybody's advisement and.
Because of the street closing, right?
Right. And so we put together a budget, and we're not asking, like I said, for anything major from the village at this time, and just the use of Tower Park.
Questions, trustees?
Yeah, it looks like one of these houses would be blocked in.
On Kingman?
Yeah, one of the driveways faces Tower Park.
If you look on the sheet, it says Kingman Avenue, the park side of Kingman So they're only asking for half of that, right?
So this isn't blocked off?
I had the same
You
concern,
did the
trustee
math.
Weisenberg, but I think trustee DeVore has it.
Is that correct?
So one of the things we thought was to create more opportunity to have more booths, because we're going to basically shoot for like 75 artists.
Yeah.
And booths are 10 by 10, and you do the whole layout. So if we have a chance to close off Kingman, one thing I love about the Heights is we have this whole alley system, and all the houses have access to alleys. But there are 2 houses right on Kingman with the driveway, and we haven't spoken with them, but we'd love to work with them because the alley's right there. So if they need to pull out of a driveway and get in the alley, we would not block their driveway, and we would help. We would basically work with them. I love the fact that Kingman might be an opportunity to expand, and we can stay on the park side, and that would be just fine. And hopefully, we might even have someone in the popcorn shop someday. It'd be great to have a little business down there. So that's why we extended it that length of Kingman, because of the alleys we have that give access to all the homes, and then create more space for booths.
I love that, but I don't think we could, I can't vote in favor of that until we know that the homeowners are okay with that. So I would be in favor to close Prospect from Kingman to Glen, but not to shut down Kingman until we can talk to those homeowners.
We had a similar incident during the carnival when Kingman was blocked off, so we had good communication with all those residents, and it all worked out. I know this will be a little bit different, but we were very packed in the carnival, and it worked. But I do agree that we should need to reach out and at least speak with them.
Yes.
And the homes that you're talking about are on Kingman, on the north side of Kingman. The driveways are, and I'm talking about between Prospect and Euclid, those 2 homes, because the others have all access on the alley that actually connects to the parking lot here.
Yeah, the others being the homes.
Oh, the
on
other
Kingman
homes,
and
I'm sorry,
Cardinal.
the other homes
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyone else? Are we okay then, approving it, working it out? Or trustee DeVore, would you rather defer this?
I was just going to ask if I need to make an amendment or a
Can we do it like contingent on talking to the
cooperation
homeowner?
from the homeowners?
That would still require an amendment
Yeah,
to make the approval contingent on approval of the homeowners.
we've already amended it once. I prefer to defer it until another meeting, and we
No, that's,
get...
I don't want to have to do that. I mean, can we just get an update on it at our next meeting?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm fine then.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, had, as Chief just mentioned, the carnival, that we were able to work that out. So I'm confident we will be able to do this as well.
Great.
All right. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
All right, this is on approval for use of Tower Park on May 11th and 12th, 2024, amended to omit the budget line item of $150 for use of Tower Park. Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Kazan.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Thanks for all your work, ladies.
Thank you for all your support.
All right, next is approval of the use of Tower Park on December 1st and 2nd, 2023 for the Kris Kringle Market. Trustee Kazan, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve this.
Second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Okay, I saw Barb Malaccio in the audience earlier from the chamber. I don't see her now, but this is pretty straightforward. It's just the use of Tower Park on December 1st for the Kringle Market, which we have done in the past.
Okay, questions?
So this is just, so in the past, they have requested funding, haven't they, for the Kringle Mart?
Yes.
That's to come,
I
or is that not going to happen?
I think we gave that, that was kind of like all included, I thought, in the last money we gave them. No?
I don't know that that's true. So the last request came for the 125th, and prior to that was the Kringle Market. I don't know the answer.
We approved a budget for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe the Discover Peoria was part of that discussion to cover some of the marketing.
And also, wasn't there a grant, Wayne, that also incorporated some of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was state tourism grant.
Tourism for about 16,000, we're still working
Right.
on.
So we shouldn't have any more requests for funds for that.
No,
Right.
good question. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Kazan.
Aye.
Trustee Reichert.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is approval of ordinance 2023-1714, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of the First Amendment to the Business Development District Number 1 redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Peoria Heights and Heather Nina doing business as the Nook and Nina Hardware Incorporated. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So I understand this just to be merely a housekeeping issue. In the previous agreement, the requester was recognized as Heather Nina, the Nook, and now it's Nina Hardware Incorporated. Is this correct?
Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
All right, thank you for pointing that out. Any questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
That passes. Next is approval of Resolution 2023-16, a resolution approving an extension of an agreement with Cardinal Infrastructure for federal advisory services. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Okay, well, we have been a partner or hired Cardinal Infrastructure in the previous year, and this is just an extension of that, and I will ask Wayne Aldridge to please give more information about it.
Again, a 6-month extension, same terms as previous, which I think are very favorable to us. And I think we have had a lot of success with federal funding, certainly through Cardinal. So we like them, we like the work they do, and would like to continue the relationship. I think Peoria County is actually going out for another similar type of a contract soon, so I know Cardinal will go for that too. So ultimately, there could be a group of us, working with the same consultant, but yet to be determined.
Thank you.
Is that a good thing or less than favorable thing for us all to be working with the same group?
It's okay, I think. They have a different style than a lot of communities, so I think that would be okay. And if, for example, if Peoria picked Cardinal Infrastructure, that could benefit us, I think. Working with a bigger group and
being able to
maybe some cost savings included, some efficiencies, that type of thing.
And I think it's a good thing because you're speaking with one voice. For instance, if it's transportation issues, just say that roads we might share with another entity, whether they be state or another community, you're speaking with that one voice, and normally those federal representatives like to be able to satisfy more than one constituent. So not only that, but spreading the cost of the consulting fee around, I think, is helpful too. So, but if there was a conflict, we wouldn't want them advocating for something that was contrary to what we were, but I think that would be rare, don't you, Mr. Aldridge?
I do. I mean, the county has a very diverse, needs, much more diverse than the village would have, but I don't foresee too many conflicts, if that would happen. We're not even sure it would happen, and there'd be that opportunity, but.
I think they would step away.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you for
again,
clarifying.
I mean, if in our grant requests, and I think I've reported this before, is we really have the attention of a lot of our delegates now and staff of delegates, which is very important for us to get the word out and get some funding and just have, our ears open in Washington when we have a need. So it's a good thing.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
That passes. Anything else under economic development?
No, Mayor.
Wayne, anything you want to report on about the meeting last night? I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, last night we had our HUD Healthy Homes Grant kind of public meeting at St. Thomas. So thanks to St. Thomas for hosting us. Have a great venue in the basement for that type of meeting. Had about, I think, 25 members, I think, counted of the community that may be eligible for the grant. We made a mailing to several hundred people in that area that might be eligible. So far, I think we've received maybe 6 applications. Applications are due December 15th. The applications are also on our website as well as other instructions. So again, folks in that area should have received a direct mailing, and if you're eligible, feel free to apply for the grant.
Would you remind everyone what those may cover?
It's grant covers $10,000, could be more, of improvements to the home, basically dealing with safety issues, health issues, that type of thing. All homes will include a radon inspection, but dealing with moisture issues, tripping hazards, heating, air conditioning, that type of thing. So several items that.
Does it cover structural or anything like that?
Not so much a little bit, if it's a
Okay.
minor repair.
Okay.
And so the issue with that is we're limited based on the grant, the amount of funding.
If somebody applies and are there inspections, things that obviously have to be done, but if they found a structural issue, does that kick them out of the program or?
We would certainly counsel folks if we saw something like that.
Okay.
It may because, the amount may be exceeding what the grant could support.
Okay.
But that's a situation, we're working with these people and we need to inform folks if we find something,
Okay.
even if we can't, help them with.
Yeah, but if you found multiple things and the structural thing is without, or out of the range, but other things could be done, can they still stay in or do they kind of?
We would look at that.
Okay.
Again, we look at other things, we're looking at, are there children in the home, elderly folks, so there's several things
Okay.
we'll have to consider.
Lead's part of that too, lead abatement.
Lead is, it's something that's less defined in the grant though, but lead is certainly an issue, yeah.
Anything else you want to report on?
We're, phase one, again, Prospect Road. We're going out, as you know, we did receive a grant, $2.5 million for phase one on Prospect Road. So we're, been approved by IDOT and done everything we need to do to work through them for this project. So we're in the process of going out with what we call a request for qualifications for firms that may help us with this project. That'll be issued by Tri-County Regional Planning on our behalf, but there may be folks on the board and other community members selected to help with that selection. As you recall, the board will have approval of the committee that selects that team, so we'll bring some names to you, I believe, at the next meeting.
And at the next meeting, we have to approve that to get that moving forward, correct?
Yeah, it'd be preferred, to get that going. Most of the selection process will be like January and February, because that's when we expect the proposals to come in. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's exciting, very exciting project.
Thank you for that report. Any miscellaneous?
I just have one question, if I can circle back to the art fair. Did you guys consider at all going up Grandview on the opposite side of Kingman? Just because you could end up extending into that park and ultimately, instead of going Kingman?
So we did not consider going east. A lot of coming back up here was coming in the day, it was up here. And our past art fair has been down Prospect.
Right.
And so coming back, we were trying to, in part of it too, and I might have to defer to Chief Sutton, is in routing traffic. We were trying to keep it centrally, just keep it a little bit more bound so that we weren't routing through
Right. No, I was
circuitous methods.
Growth you have going that way too, with overlooking the
Yeah,
the drive and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
And we're up for suggestions too, and we'll cooperate with neighbors and.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay.
Because of the two-day event is the reason we took that route. Remember we discussed last time.
Anyone else? All right, anyone? Yes, Mr. Lockhart?
Two things, sir. From a constituency here, the idea of town hall is probably the best thing I've heard. It gives you guys first-hand information from us. Can shortstop a lot of ill feeling, if you know what I mean. And secondly, to put in the words of my grandchildren, the sound system in here sucks. Is there anything we can do to amplify? I mean, Sarah, you come through loud and clear. It came in, and that's not because you're a loud person.
I mean, I am loud, it's okay.
Mayor, I can barely hear you. Dustin, Brandon, you're in and out.
I think it's the mic.
The people coming from back here talking this mic, if you're over here, you can't understand what the heck they're saying.
We'll try to project
Yeah,
more.
we'll work on that. I apologize. And the new HVAC is loud too. It's louder than it used to be, but we'll ask the administrator to put that in the budget. So we'll get it taken care of. And I apologize. I think a lot of times it's just we get looking at our fellow trustees, and then you're not speaking directly in the microphone. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Lovelier
Yes, Jay.
microphones on our shirts.
I just have a compliment for the art team. I bought a piece of art at the Peoria Art Fair, and the guy I bought it from said he didn't come because it wasn't a 2-day fair. So I want your number, so I'll call him up. But I think that's a great thing to have a 2-day fair instead of one.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous from the board? Any last questions from anyone in the audience? Trustee Gett is not here tonight, so I'm going to look at you, Trustee Weisenberg.
Oh, no. I make the motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Put me on the spot there, Mayor. I had to think. I stole it from him one time, but.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.